Community members in Richmond have been highly anticipating the arrival of a Menards, and the wait is finally over. The new store is a one-stop shop full of materials that will help locals with home improvement.
This is going to be a huge one. This is 200,000 square feet of everything that you can think of.
You walk into Menards for one thing. You grab a box of deck screws. The price is lower than you expected. Right above it, 11% rebate. You don't even think. You put it in the cart. Now rewind. You bought the same screws last month at Home Depot. They were locked behind plastic. The price made you pause, and you left wondering if you just overpaid for something that used to be cheap. That feeling, that quiet hesitation, is why millions of customers are drifting away from Home Depot and Lowe's, and why Menards has become the store people defend in comment sections. Menards isn't the biggest home improvement chain. It isn't nationwide. It doesn't spend billions on branding. Yet somehow, it's the store customers trust the most. And that raises a dangerous question. If Menards figured out how to keep prices feeling fair while its competitors are struggling, why can't the giants do the same? And more importantly, can Menards avoid becoming exactly what customers are running from? Founded in 1958 as a construction company, however, the first Menards Cashway lumber retail store opened in 1964. Menards doesn't try to be everywhere. That's part of its power. Unlike Home Depot, valued at $300 billion, and Lowe's at $130 billion, Menards is regional by design. Dense in the Midwest, highly visible in towns that feel underserved by the national chains. That concentrated footprint, 341 stores as of late 2025, gives Menards two advantages: massive SKU depth per store, and a reputation for value. Customers notice every time they roll a cart down a 200,000 plus square foot aisle. Menards is privately held, which means no quarterly earnings calls. That private structure allows the company to invest long-term, keep prices steady, and avoid the short-term margin gymnastics public rivals often undertake. Independent industry estimates put Menards' revenue in the $10 to $13 billion range. Tiny next to the behemoths, but enormous for a regional chain. That scale funds huge inventories, private label programs, and the famous 11% rebate that keeps customers coming back. But money alone doesn't explain the loyalty. Menards wins on practical experience. Price cues that feel like real savings, a wide selection of building materials and appliances many competitors don't stock locally, and checkout rituals, rebates, weekly flyers that make bargain hunting feel rewarding. J.D. Power surveys repeatedly rank Menards almost at the top for customer satisfaction in the home improvement category, which is not accidental. Customers report friendlier staff, faster problem resolution, and that in-store feel of, they carry exactly what I need. But why is Menards truly exceptional? Menards operates the way it does because of its founder, John Menard Jr. Longtime employees say he built the company on attention to every tiny detail, even recycling short pieces of 2x4s other retailers would toss. John always paid attention to the littlest details, one 1963 employee recalled, describing how he turned scrap into sellable product early in the lumber business. Menards' perfectionism, frugality, and demand for control shaped every pricing, rebate, and operational rule at Menards. At Menards, the experience doesn't just feel cheaper, it feels smoother. There's a reason for that. Menards has an internal rule most big box stores quietly abandoned years ago. If 2 or more people are waiting in line, another checkout opens. Not a coupon, not a rebate, just time, the one thing shoppers hate losing. Contrast that with Home Depot and Lowe's, which are facing a trio of structural headwinds: a cooling housing market that reduced big-ticket remodel demand, tariff and input cost pressures squeezing margins, and shifting customer behavior, less in-store browsing, more selective spending. Those trends showed up as weaker comps, narrower margins, and cautious investor calls in 2024-2025. If you were a Menards executive watching this, you'd see both opportunity and a warning. The industry's biggest weaknesses could become your own if you repeat their strategic missteps. So what does Menards have to protect? First, their customer trust, earned by consistent prices, rebate culture, and local inventory depth. Second, their margin model, built on private labels and bulk buying. And third, their footprint, regional density that supports better supply logistics than a national sprawl could. But none of these are automatic. Menards must now modernize e-commerce, shore up supply chains against tariffs and friend-shoring risk, and carefully manage any expansion so that service levels and the customer experience don't erode, because those are precisely the cracks that turned once untouchable chains into cautionary tales. Menards' pricing magic is simple to explain and surprisingly hard to copy. Big catalogs plus big stores plus an 11% rebate that feels like free money. Walk into a Menards and you'll be handed a weekly flyer promising save big money. Knock a few items off your list, submit the rebate, and weeks later you hold a merchandise credit check worth 11% of qualifying purchases, usable only at Menards. It's nostalgia and ritual, wrapped into a loyalty program that turns trips into returns and shoppers into regulars. That rebate is the engine, but private label brands are the gears. Menards carries dozens of its own labels, think Masterforce, Monticello, and Benchmark, that are priced well below national brands, and give the company margin control without visible price increases. Private labels let Menards sell the same item at multiple price points, own brand for value buyers, name brands for those who demand them, while keeping inventory deep in every big box. This mix is one reason Menards can run stores with enormous SKU depth. Many locations exceed 150 to 200,000 square feet and still move products fast. Industry write-ups and Menards' own materials show how the model pulls customers back week after week. People talk about Menards like it's a hometown institution, and that's partly cultural. The Menard family has shaped the brand's Midwestern voice for decades. Owner John Menard Jr. still looms large in public life and sponsorships, racing series, local causes, reinforcing the "we're one of you" image that national chains can't easily replicate. In an announcement about Menards' long racing sponsorships, John Menard said Menards aligns with hardworking customers with strong Midwestern family values, a line that doubles as marketing and mission. That cultural alignment matters when customers pick between a national behemoth and a store that gets local needs. But the charm has trade-offs. Menards is privately held, so public transparency is limited. Reports vary, but Forbes and industry trackers estimate Menards pulls in roughly $10 to $13 billion annually, which places them third behind Home Depot and Lowe's. That private structure gives Menards flexibility. No quarterly pressure, room to invest in inventory, and low pricing. Yet private ownership also concentrates governance risk. Leadership continuity and local controversies can ripple quickly through PR and regulatory channels. Employees and culture are a double-edged sword. Many customers praise friendly staff and cluttered but informative aisles. Employees report a driven, efficiency-first environment. Local reporting and worker accounts suggest Menards runs a lean operation where labor intensity is high, a model that keeps prices low but can strain morale and service if expansion or e-commerce demands rise. Customers praise Menards because it feels different. Knowledgeable staff, local store energy, and a sense that the company still cares about everyday builders and homeowners. That's exactly what many longtime customers say they've lost at Home Depot and Lowe's. As those chains expanded, standardized, and cut costs, service suffered. Menards must resist that same temptation. Expansion without training, cost-cutting without empathy, automation without support, those are the cracks where loyalty disappears. Ironically, Menards' private ownership is its biggest strength and its biggest test. Without Wall Street pressure, the company can play the long game. But without transparency, mistakes compound quietly. The next decade will decide whether Menards remains the beloved regional alternative or becomes just another big box chain customers complain about online. Right now, Menards stands at a rare moment of goodwill. Customers praise it, competitors stumble. The playbook is clear. Protect value, modernize carefully, invest in people, and grow only where service can be preserved. Because history shows this clearly, the moment a home improvement store forgets why customers trusted it in the first place, the decline doesn't happen overnight. It happens aisle by aisle. And that's the lesson Menards must learn from watching Home Depot and Lowe's struggle today.